WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.
Welcome to another edition of Real Family Talk. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday evening. I know I am. Why? Because it's Tuesday night, 9 p.m. So once again, Real Family Talk is live in effect. Hope everybody had a wonderful evening tonight. I had a pretty good evening. Unfortunately for me, though, I'm over here near Rosemont is where my job is, and apparently crime is going down tonight. If those not familiar with the Orlando area, Rosemont has a tendency for some crime to go down. And tonight apparently is no exception. They got almost the whole little block over there of Rosemont kind of closed down. I don't know what went down, but apparently only thing I know is they're looking for somebody. But hopefully they'll clear that up, and hopefully whatever happened wasn't some kind of serious crime that at least where people didn't get injured. Hopefully. Not really sure what happened yet. But welcome. Let me go ahead and welcome the panel. How's everybody doing tonight? We got Jeremy in the building. What's going on, Jeremy?
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
And we got Miss McCrae's in the building. How you doing, Miss McCrae?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Hey, there I am.
There she is. Got to get it together over there, brother. But that's
right.
Okay.
It's okay.
We'll get it together, man. We get them jitters out. And we got somebody else I think is supposed to join us this evening. I guess we'll let them give them a shout out when they get here. So real talk. We're going to talk about gun violence tonight. A lot of things going on with guns. The president is going to be releasing his theory on some changes that need to happen to gun laws. He was supposed to do it today. But he postponed it till tomorrow. So on tomorrow, we'll see what the president's got to say about it. But we'll talk about that today. Before I get there, though, the second biggest news story, I guess you could say, or maybe it was the first. I guess it just depends on your perspective. Lance Armstrong, Oprah, because everybody talks to Oprah.
Of course. Oprah makes you want to tell the truth, no matter what.
Everybody talks to Oprah. Oprah gets all the good stories, apparently. So apparently Lance Armstrong admitted to Oprah that he did do some sort of doping. We haven't seen the interview. We just know that he admitted to some type of doping during the years that he was cycling. So, of course, the world, you know how the world is. Oh, my gosh. He used doping and he won all those titles and blah, 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 blah. It's a shame. And he stole all that money with his foundation and blah, blah, blah. I want to know what y'all think. 407-894-1680. 407-894-1680 is the number. See, personally, I don't care about like doping. I don't care about steroids.
You don't care about cheating?
All of that
you
stuff.
You a sports guy? You don't care about an athlete cheating?
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, in all those sports, where you're talking about baseball, baseball, the big story last week is that the writers didn't want to vote anybody into the Hall of Fame, mainly because the candidates at the top of the list this year were people like Barry Bonds, people like Mark McGwire, people like Roger, what's my man's name? Roger Clemens, who all use steroids. So another situation where allegedly use steroids. So, once again, the writers are like, oh, well, none of these guys deserve to be there, so we're not voting anybody in this year. And so here we are, Lance Armstrong, he doped, whatever. To me, okay, does the doping or the steroid use give you some advantage in terms of muscle mass? Okay, yes, it probably gives you some advantage in terms of muscle mass. Does it ensure that you're going to win the race? Does it ensure that you're going to be the one? Does it improve your batting percentage? Does it give you an extra 15 miles per hour on your fastball? No, it doesn't do any of those things.
It makes them
It doesn't do any of those things. It does give you some more muscle mass, but it doesn't help you. Right. It doesn't make you so much better than the next guy.
Yes, it does.
No, it does
no,
not.
That's what steroids
No, it does
do.
not.
No,
that is your perception, but that is not the truth. I can go out today. Hold on one second. I'm going to let you talk, Jeremy. I can go out today, and for the next year, I can get on steroids. You know what? I still not going to be able to get into the MLB to play baseball, okay? Just because I shot up for a year on steroids and I gained 50 pounds in muscle mass. It's not going to make me some great hitter in a year because I went out and got on steroids. It's not going to make me the best pitcher in the world because I went out and shot up on steroids. And I'm certainly not going to go pick up a bike and then go winning Tour de France's for 7 years in a row. It doesn't do any of that.
That's the thing. If you already have that good talent and that good skill, it takes your 100% good at that talent to 200%.
Right.
So now to somebody who's equal with you, you have this extra boost. It's like a 5-hour energy, you know? It gives you that extra to keep you going longer and stronger. I completely disagree.
What it does is it allows you to train harder. That's what it does. Now, in the case of people who bat at baseball, pitchers, I can kind of give you a little leeway because everything for them is about strength, muscle endurance with their arm. That I can kind of see. But when you're standing in front of that plate, you can be Hulk. You can be an Incredible Hulk. If you can't make that Louisville Slugger touch that little ball,
but
it's irrelevant.
That's the point that I'm making.
It's irrelevant.
You already good at hitting the ball.
No, everybody's not. Everybody's not. It's a lot of guys.
We're talking about the people who are.
But even the people. But the thing about this is my issue with one of the things. Like Barry Bonds, before he even got to the 73 home runs, he was already a Hall of Famer.
You're right about that.
He had the numbers.
But that ain't saying when he started taking these, drugs that he was taking.
Again, allegedly, because all this stuff, nobody's only A-Rod admitted to it.
Okay, Marion Jones,
but she admitted to it.
Right.
But all these people they're talking about,
Yeah.
never been found guilty of doing it.
I mean, my thing is it's nobody just gonna come out and accuse Jay Real of being on heroin if it ain't no kind of
all I'm saying
something
is,
behind it. We just ain't just out the blue. You know what?
The one good thing about this country, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
That's the one thing that's
now,
supposed to be. It's a lot
the
of others supposed to be.
Yeah, but see, the problem is none of these people have been found guilty of anything, and now everybody's making this quote unquote judgment call because we know, we see.
Look at the brother head. The brother
he had a big head before
no, he did
before
not,
his body got that big. His head was big.
No, he did not, man. Him and LL Cool J got the biggest heads that I ever seen in my life, and both of them brothers was on steroids.
All I'm saying is innocent until proven guilty.
This brother here got a button-up wife beater. Okay, that's how big his head is.
All I'm saying is,
nobody
ever found him guilty of doing nothing.
For those that don't know, real quick, Mr. Michael King's in the building, y'all. 407-894.
That's all I got to say about it. Nobody ever found that man guilty of doing nothing.
Let me ask you this then. Did OJ do it?
No, he didn't.
Because he wasn't found guilty.
Exactly.
Found guilty.
Exactly.
Right, brother. That is exactly right.
They got their get back on it. I don't know how somebody get 30 years for taking their stuff back.
They own stuff.
They stuff.
Nah,
that was admittedly stolen from them.
Only OJ.
Now that's a whole nother thing, though.
That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother topic, right?
I don't know. Like I said, the brother head is humongous, and that is one of the setbacks of having steroids.
I don't know. Like I said,
that brother does not have a normal they have to make his hat personally for him. Doors have to be widened for this brother. This brother's head is huge. If you see this brother's head, all you think is, dang, I want some milk duds. Like, that's just the first thing that come in your mind. Like,
milk duds?
I really want some milk duds.
Somebody marching March.
I done seen Barry Bonds' head. I want some milk duds.
Well, like I said, I disagree that it makes them, these stellar athletes. In terms of, Lance Armstrong, again, a lot of people are now trying to kind of discredit what he's done through his Live Strong Foundation, which, through his Live Strong Foundation, via his, I guess fake accomplishments, if you will, he's raised over, I think they said over $470 million for cancer research. So regardless of what he did on the cycle, I guess in this case, I won't say on the field, I think you have to at least acknowledge the fact that he's done that much through his charity for cancer research. I mean, I don't think you can take that away and say that, to me, almost it's on one of those things where, it doesn't validate what he did, but when he raised that much money, you just go, wow. You got to give him credit for something.
I mean, he gets a good credit, but he's a good man, but just a bad athlete for taking steroids.
Hold on. Well, hold on.
You a good man.
This man had testicular cancer. If anybody deserved to take steroids, it's him.
What?
If anybody deserved to take steroids to sit his area on this bike for what? Wasn't that race like 2 weeks? I think he needs
something like that.
I think he needs a little help, sir. I mean, come on now.
I mean, they got people who do the same thing with no legs. They got this brother
had cancer.
I seen a brother swimming with no arms on MediaTakeout.com.
Yeah, but you know what he had? He had the little nubs that they can attach arms to it.
He ain't had that. He ain't had nothing. He just had the legs, and he was going with his neck.
Yeah, and they call those buoys.
It was
Just sitting in the middle of the road, just
you know Bowie. That ain't how Bowie look. We know Bowie.
when you talking about buoy.
Oh,
we
I thought you were talking about Bowie.
We was talking about the buoys that's in the ocean.
Because Bowie was black. This white man. This was a white dude in the picture. But yeah, man, if he can do it with no arms, you don't need no steroids.
I ain't say you need it. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
And then when you think about
you a good man for the things that you do in the community, but when you have to take steroids to try to make yourself better than everybody else, you're not a good athlete, and you don't deserve to be praised as an athlete. Now, as outside of that, yeah, you did good for the raising cancer money, but what sports? No, you're not a good athlete. You're a good man, though. I give him that. Give him credit for that. 100%. Lance.
Well, I don't know. I just I don't see it. I don't think it matters. Even when talking about baseball, it's basically it's almost a unspoken fact at this point that almost everybody in that era where you had the home runs and all of that kind of stuff, it seems like most of them were on some kind of steroids or something. So that it was consistent, and so whatever happened during that time, everybody was on the juice, if you will, and then those people were still accomplishing the things that they accomplished. But I say whatever, it don't matter. It doesn't improve your game that much. It might give you a few extra muscles, but it don't improve your game.
Say that to the other players who don't get any shine, who work just as hard,
and
just
don't take
in
no
the gym, busting their butt, don't take steroids. Yet these guys juicing up, getting all the praise.
Exactly.
Well,
and that's how you
I'm being like this. I don't think. From my general experience, people who take steroids are the people who in generally just work hard in the gym in any way. That's even true. And that's even how they come across. All them guys, it's kind of like a myth that just because people in the pros that they always train hard. Half them guys be alcoholics, man. It ain't like they sit around and just really be hitting the gym like they should every day.
And that's why in NFL, by the time you're 30, you washed up. Because by the time you're 30 is when it's like, okay, what am I do after football? And that's when they start to drinking. They don't be drinking like that right after high school. Come on now.
Please. I know it'd be starting in high school.
Exactly.
Right after college, I mean. You don't think Cam Newton be out there getting drunk? Like, come on now.
You might not.
Okay,
now.
maybe Cam.
You might not now, but I'm
sure.
What do you think?
Matt Ryan be nowhere getting drunk?
As they say, I've known a few brothers that played college ball.
Yes.
I can vouch.
And as good a shape as they were in.
I can vouch for some of
Are
that drinking.
any of these guys in the
I can vouch
NFL?
for some of that drinking and other stuff.
Are any
the
of these
one I
guys
can
in the
attest
NFL?
to
is
Ben.
I'm telling you.
What's the Steelers quarterback name? What's the Steelers quarterback name?
Ben
Yeah, he was the
Roethlisberger?
one that went to jail in the strip club situation, right?
Yeah, I think he did.
Ben
Yeah.
was in trouble quite a bit.
So yeah, he's in the NFL, and we know he drinks heavily.
He's a Pro Bowl.
But that's them Steelers, though. The Steelers, they'll pick up anybody.
He trying to start with you.
Right.
Man. We're gonna move on.
Yeah, because I seen them last week. Who they was playing Saturday?
They didn't play anybody.
Oh, they played Sunday.
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay, my bad.
We know who's in the playoffs, brother. We know who's in the playoffs. And the Steelers
My
are
bad.
in the playoffs.
Oh,
Wow.
they didn't even make it to the playoffs. Huh?
No, they did not, sir.
Wow.
They did not. That's okay.
That's cool, though.
407-894-1680. But speaking of playoffs, there's going to be some good games this weekend. This is that time that if you're just that casual fan, there'll definitely be some good games. Baltimore, New England, and I think the San Francisco-Atlanta game will be good this weekend. So we'll see. We'll see. Who are your Super Bowl picks? Everybody, real quick. Super Bowl pick, Mr. Gray.
Patriots and wait, is it going to be the Ravens?
It's Patriots, Baltimore,
the Ravens
versus
and the
New
Niners.
England. And then
So it's for the
Nah,
Niners.
bro.
the
Sorry about
49ers and
It's going to be the Niners
and
and,
Atlanta.
and Patriots.
No.
The Niners and the Patriots.
Kaepernick and Brady.
The Niners and the Ravens.
Niners and the Ravens. Mr. Michael King, what you say?
See, this is my analogy of this situation. Now, you got Ray Lewis, who this is his last year.
I love Ray.
Then you got Tony Gonzalez, who this is his last year. And that's why I
He
say
said this was going to be his last year.
well, he
Yeah,
didn't.
he did.
He said
He
it,
did.
but he done said it a bunch of times.
He said it. Yeah.
Exactly.
He
But
suggested
I
it.
just don't see him quitting if they get this close to a ring.
And I feel you on that. I mean, but he retired more times than Jay-Z and Jordan. But I think because of those two reasons, the Ravens and the Falcons are going to be in the Super Bowl.
I'm with you, bro.
I would love to see that.
I'm
I
with
just
you,
don't
bro.
think it's
No.
going to
San
happen.
Francisco,
San Francisco and the Ravens.
Baltimore. That's what I think too, bro.
Then they
So-
beat it. The 49ers just kind of don't show up with big teams in the regular season.
But it's not the regular season.
I feel you on that. But Kaepernick, what's his name?
What's his
Kaepernick.
name? Kaepernick.
Kaepernosy? Because that brother knows, but he stick out through the helmet.
all right.
Well,
Kaepernick
Yeah,
balled
and-
over the
hey,
weekend, though.
And the Packers saw every inch of it, too.
All of
Because
it.
he ran by all of them
He
all
sure
day.
did. Hey,
All of them.
I'm not taking nothing from that man. That man did a great job. But I just don't think the Falcons are. I think this is finally their year. They done been close for the last 3-4 years.
No,
and
they ain't been close because this is the first time they actually won a game. So that's one of the reasons I think they ain't going to make it. Okay, now they accomplished one thing. They won the game. Now they go back home. Now next year they might win 2 games.
they've been the most frequent winners in the NFL this year, man. Nobody else is
A
actually.
whole lot of people been. Remember the Packers? Was that last year? They were what, 15-1?
They won last year.
No, they didn't.
Who won last year?
The Giants.
The
Oh yeah,
Giants.
Yeah, they went to Green Bay and spanked them.
Yeah, you're right about that. But I think the Ravens are gonna win, but the whole thing. But I want to see the Falcons and the Ravens though. I want Ray Lewis to get a ring before he go.
You mean a second ring?
Well, yeah, second ring. I know he got one with Jamal and your
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, we'll see. Trent Dilfer. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I like San Francisco and Baltimore, man. But we'll move on. 407-894-1680. 407-894-1680 is the number. So let's talk about guns for a little bit. So of course, ever since Newtown, guns has been the topic. The laws related to guns are just not strict enough. Because had they been, stuff like Newtown would never happen.
Newtown? What's Newtown?
Connecticut.
Oh, that's what it was. Newtown?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I need you to read, bro. I need you to read.
yeah, I heard, I've heard so much about that situation. Also, I didn't know it was Newtown. I just heard Sandy Hook,
I'll
bro.
just mess with you, bro.
But I've heard that was
I'm not.
smoke and mirrors. That's what I heard about that.
We won't even get into that. Let's avoid that.
So you don't want to
conversation.
get into it, man,
No,
smoke
I
and
won't get
mirrors.
into the
Boy.
smoke and mirrors. But
What Jimmy Shine at? Jimmy Shine, call in and let us know.
you know he's about to call in.
Jimmy, they don't want to hear me, Jimmy. They don't want to hear about the
Jesus,
truth, the
stop
smoke
it.
and the mirrors,
Uh,
just for this
Stop
situation.
it. You know what? Anderson Cooper is addressing that tonight on his show, though. The
Really?
conspiracies, gun policy. He's talking a little bit about that. The conspiracy that's
Only
surrounding
conspiracy theorist besides me and Jimmy Shine that I really listen to is Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura, we know what he's talking about too. You know, you watch his TV show on
that. I don't watch
True
his TV show, but
yeah,
I know
he
who
has
he
one,
is.
but no, I don't watch it.
Oh wow!
But yeah. So again, we're not going to hit that one. But so gun control, gun laws not being strict enough. That's the issue. So a couple of things, locally, and I want to throw this out here because, I listen to radio during the day a lot of times, so a lot of local talk radio, and you get an opportunity to hear, what others are thinking, but you don't so much get to hear what we're thinking. And so I really want to hear from us tonight to see where we feel or stand on a lot of these gun-related issues. So one of the topics, one of the big topics, and I think it was earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, they were having a debate in Lake County. In particular, the school board was debating whether or not guns should be allowed, to the teachers, I should say, and the principals of schools be allowed to carry guns into the school for protection. So that was one of the issues, and they were debating it. It doesn't look like they're going to actually implement it, thank God. But
that would have been so great.
But that's one of the issues and the ways that they're feeling like, because obviously putting a patrolman at every school ultimately is going to be costly. Ultimately, it's going to mean an increase in taxes for everybody. And really the only people we want to see an increase in taxes for are the rich. So I'm sure nobody wants to see the taxes increase, even for this particular issue, I'd imagine. So, but what do you think about this idea? Schools, teachers, principals, or maybe one or the other, maybe just the principal being allowed to, obviously I would assume you'd want him to get a concealed permit law. He'd do these several training classes, blah, blah, blah. And then if he goes through this entire process, boom, now he's allowed to hold a gun and maybe in his office or some location locked up. What do you think of that?
Honestly, if they can pass a psych exam, I don't necessarily have a big problem with it. Long as they ain't the one we worried about them getting mad and shooting one of them kids.
See, that's the key. Teachers. Go ahead.
Other than that, I'm hey, something got to change. You know what I'm saying?
I really thought that they had a patrol at every school.
No, they don't have that. Not at every one of them.
Every school middle school, high school, in every city I've ever went to, they always had a cop that was at the school all day.
It's not consistent anymore.
Right. And then you gotta be it is at certain ones now. At certain ones they are there.
I'm sure Jones has one.
They're there.
This was at Metro West when Officer Harris was there. Had the robot RTD.
We had one at West Orange when I was going to high school. I'm just saying in today's day.
But that was a bad school though.
I don't think it's that consistent. It's not consistent like that.
No, it's not that consistent.
I thought it was. I feel sorry for them. I grew up with the police, just like I said, from Metro West Elementary School. Grew up Officer Harris, Jones, Carver, even in Jacksonville and Terry Parker, we had a police officer at the school. That's kind of crazy.
So what do you think?
Was it there for you?
Principals carrying guns in the school. What do you think, Mr. King?
I'm totally against that. I think the ideal is one of the craziest ideas of 2013 to come, but I think that's ludicrous. I completely disagree. That's why you got the officer on the campus that carries the gun, not the teacher who's supposed to be carrying the books. So we want to fire teachers, but we want the ones that we got to carry guns. I'm completely against that. No.
Yeah, I agree with you. Teachers, you're already asking a lot of teachers anyway. So to have them teach, protect, shoot to kill. Because if they're in a position where they're having to pull their gun, they have to kill. And how are you going to ask somebody to do that? Most teachers, speaking from my mother and the people that they wouldn't try to kill anybody. If they had to protect themselves, they would do it. But that's not something they would want to have to worry about.
You don't want to shoot your gun if you had permission, miss who you're shooting at, and hit an innocent kid.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing in my opinion.
Yeah, this is true, but law enforcement officers miss. And it's not like they're gonna be making the people. They're giving that's for the option purposes. That's what it is. It's not like they're gonna get a gun. It's not that type of thing.
Here's my biggest issue: 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. When I think about this, so all right, teachers, principals, people who work in the school in general. All right, they're already overworked and overpaid. Okay,
underpaid. You mean?
Yeah, overworked and underpaid. Sorry, overworked and underpaid. Yes, overworked and underpaid. So to ask these individuals to now be crisis management people, because when you're talking about carrying a gun and potentially having to take out this gun and protect students, you're talking about crisis management. You see what I'm saying? To now expect them to be great crisis managers along with, doing their best to keep up with all the different rules in place and whatnot, according to the school, now they have to go out and practice and become these expert marksmen, if you will, almost, sort of the same job that you're training a policeman to do. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you would expect them to, take on that role. And then just the potential that if the gun is quote unquote in the classroom, let's say even locked up, for a teacher or even the principal, if it's in his office locked up. Now you're opening up the avenue for, if he does pull it out for random reason, maybe he's attacked, maybe he's jumped, and now the gun is not in his hands anymore. Now the gun is in the potential hands of these students who, because obviously if they were ruly enough that he needed to bring out a gun, they're certainly ruly enough to try and take the gun from him. You see what I'm saying? And being that, his job is not crisis management, if you will, especially when it relates to a gun, I think it's kind of silly to put a gun in his hand and then expect him to take on this brand new role that's never, been asked of him before. I think it's a lot better to just, if it takes raising taxes on everybody, raising property taxes or something, I think that's a lot more effective. And then pay the people who are trained to handle guns, trained to for protection, to step in and then serve that role in the school system. If it's one guy, if it's two guys, is it three guys, depending on how big the schools are, because we got schools around here with 5, 6, 7, 8,000 people in them. Then you put them on payroll and raise taxes to accomplish that. But guns in the hands of teachers, that's ridiculous.
That's the craziest.
407-894.
Some of them got gun permits anyway. You might as well let them bring it into school. What's to stop them from waiting after school just like everybody else? All right, come on, student. Yeah, school is over.
They wanted to do that, brother. They're gonna do that whether you permit it or not.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So we don't need to make it legal, bro. We don't make it legal, so it makes it that much more easier for them to chime in on that. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. And then secondly, the whole point of all of this is to sort of quote unquote prevent something like Newtown happening or the Sandy Hook happening. When again, you can't prevent those kinds of random events. They're unpreventable, and so putting a gun in the principal's hands or the teacher's hands isn't going to cause it to stop. Isn't going to curb it. Maybe if you're lucky enough, that might be good enough and hold it together long enough to sort of stop it from going on for an extended period of time. But I think you're taking a lot of risk in that particular situation. So, that's some comments on that. 407-894-1680. 407-894-1680.
I think it's just a lot of holes in the story from what I've been hearing. First time I heard this, second time I heard this, third time I heard this. Never heard no real witnesses, never heard no real factuality that comes from this story that's like hard, cold facts that I could believe in. So I'm really skeptical about the entire situation. I think that it's a control type thing that they're trying to do because they want to enforce something, and before they enforce something, they always have a big tragedy, and then they start enforcing new stuff. We got all this stuff with the airports, and you can't bring lotion in the airport and all this and stuff after 9/11. Now they going around killing kids with semi-automatics. Now they trying to control semi-automatics and stuff to that nature. I really just think, in the words of my favorite vice president, I think it's a bunch of malarkey.
And who is that? What's his name?
Joe Biden.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
All right, 407-894-1680. Again, it is what it is. Whatever happened.
No.
All I know is this situation has now mounted toward gun violence. Gun control, I should say. Here's the thing that gets me, and the thing that kind of really burns my skin about the whole thing, though, is so we have this shooting in Connecticut that, at this elementary school, and now, it's like brand new. All of a sudden, gun control is a huge problem in the country.
All of a sudden. Boom, pow.
Boom, pow. Gun control is a huge problem in the country.
Well, see, that's not true because they built up to this. Because first they were saying that, what Democrats were going to take the guns or the Republicans were going to take the guns. Which one was going to do it?
It's always Democrats.
Okay, so it was a Democrat. That's why they were saying, they're right, you're right about that. So they were saying, no, don't vote for Obama because he against guns. Am I wrong? Y'all don't remember them saying that? They built up to this. This is not just coincidental that it happened right now. No, they built up to this to put it in your mind about some type of gun control, then some killing some kids, and now we're going to get some gun control. Because that's what we've been wanting from the get-go.
Maybe, but that goes back to the whole conspiracy. My issue is that, again, when you look at crime, you look at murder, and just in the country, beyond school shootings. I did some research. Since 1996, there's been 77 school shootings. Okay, 77 school shootings since 1996. What is that, a span of, how many years is that, 16 years? 16 years, 77 shootings, okay? You think about what's happening in the country. And, the biggest place where murder is happening today, Chicago. Biggest place where murder is happening today in Chicago. In the last 10 years alone in Chicago, over 5,000 people have died. Since 2001, over 5,000 people have died in Chicago since 2001.
That's a lot of people.
To compare it, I read something that told me in Afghanistan since 2001, 2,000 soldiers have died in Afghanistan since 2001. Now, that doesn't include how many got wounded. I'm just talking about people that died. But 2,000 soldiers have died since 2001 in Afghanistan. 5,000 people have died in Chicago since 2001.
How many people from Afghanistan has died since 2001?
It ain't even about how many people in Afghanistan, brother.
It's the principle. You got soldiers out there fighting.
Soldiers who are trained to use guns and kill people have only relative, a few thousand have died compared to almost twice as many have died just in the city of Chicago, bruh. And then, of course, who's dying in Chicago? Who's dying? For the most part, it's brothers dying. Yeah. Brothers or black people, little kids. Those are the people that's dying. But yet we don't have a gun control problem until, 20-something little kids in Connecticut die. That's really what teased me off about this whole thing. And everybody, accused me of not being so pro-black based on my political views. but here's what
I would disagree with you.
Here's that pro-blackness. This is the thing that gets me, though. You know what I'm saying? Because, at the end of the day, the difference is, like we said, in Chicago, we got a lot of brothers. We got a lot of, old people, older black people, younger black people, teenage black men dying in Chicago. And then we had 20-something, was it 20 or over 20? I can't remember the exact number right now. But about 20-something, young white kids die in Newtown and a couple other white adults. And now gun control is a huge problem. Gun control in and of itself, the issue to me is really not gun control because there's tons of laws on the books related to gun control. The issue is, how do you control or how do you curb the thought process of individuals from getting guns, not so much legally, but illegally. Because the people dying in Chicago aren't dying by legal guns, for the most part, I'm sure. They're dying by illegal guns. So how do you control illegal guns? And that can't be controlled by legal gun control laws. They only affect citizens. They don't affect the people that are really out here committing crimes. Here we got a caller. How you doing tonight, Jimmy Shine?
Brother J. Real and the Real Talk family.
What's going on, Jimmy?
What's going on, Jimmy Shine?
Oh, boy. I hear y'all into it. I like Michael King. I like what he has to say.
I know you do, Jimmy.
Brother J. Real, in order for us to even consider any of this, you got to start with the truth. And see, that's what I'm about. I'm just about finding out the truth. Did this really happen? Did 28 people really get shot? Did you see any bodies being brought out of the building into the ambulances outside? Did you see any bullet holes inside the windows of the school? We didn't see any of that stuff. All we know is by what the media told us and by what the police told us. And that one fat cop who said that if anybody out there has an opposing view as to what we've just told you, we will track you down and we will prosecute you. Now, what do you think about that?
Now, that's a problem right there.
That is a problem right there.
I mean, I don't even live in Connecticut. How you gonna track me down and prosecute me? So this is what he said. See, that is the ultimate thing that tells me that this thing is a hoax. When you find a law enforcement officer who threatens the general public, oh, listen, we're monitoring social networking, aka Facebook, and we hear what y'all are saying out there. We hear all these allegations being made, and there's a problem with that for us. So we better not catch you. We better not find out who you are, or else we're going to send federal agents to knock on your door and prosecute you. What does that say, folks? What does that say? Do we still live in America?
It sounds like I ain't got no freedom of speech. That's what it sounds like.
You know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when they tell you they're going to send agents to your house no matter what state you live in? We're going to send federal agents to your house. Hello, Jimmy Shine. We heard you've been talking about this thing. What about that, J. Real?
Hey man, you know I agree with you. The idea that they're going to prosecute you because you disagree with their storyline, I think is ridiculous. And if anybody does come to prosecution for real, beyond what he actually said, is that, you know, that's going to be a travesty of justice. You might as well burn the Constitution because we really have no laws. But
yeah.
But I don't think I truly don't believe that that's going to happen. I think what you have is, you know, once again, you got these overzealous cops who are acting emotionally and not acting rationally, saying, you know, off the cuss things that, you know, ultimately he can't back that up. There's no law that's going to back him up to say you can't say what you say about
They will
Newtown.
create a law.
You know, maybe they will, but that hasn't been created. So again, there's no law to say that you can't say whatever you want to say about Newtown.
You are a terrorist if you say something. And then it's simple as that. Now you locked up. We think you a terrorist.
But they can do that now, according to the Patriot Act. So it don't even need to be Newtown.
Exactly.
They can call me a terrorist for saying the things I said about the president. So, so you know.
We're recording this?
Always.
Mr. McCray, what about that situation? Is that okay for them to come knock on your door and say, hey, you know, we've been monitoring Facebook, and we don't like what you had to say about the shootings in Connecticut. Could you come with us, please? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that part is ridiculous that they can't do that. But I have to disagree with you, Jimmy Shine. And I think it's disrespectful for people to be talking about that this is a hoax. I was dare you to say that to those families who've lost children, who've lost loved ones. We saw the caskets. And if you would like to say that they were empty caskets, if you want to go that far as this was a big plan and all these families played along, that's just crazy. I'm sorry. I just disagree.
I would simply question, I would simply ask, why did it take 5 days in order for the parents to even see? They wouldn't let the parents see the dead children. You know, they're grieving. They want to see the children. I don't care whether they're dead or whatever. The parents wanted to see the children, and the police said, no, you can't do it. They got to be fingerprinted, and they got to be autopsied, and they got to be all these things. And most of the parents couldn't even get to the children until it's time to bury them.
Right, and one of the newspapers in that town was very detailed with what they said, what they saw, and they were able to be there. They couldn't identify the bodies. That was the problem. These babies were hit 8-9 times, some in the face. They couldn't be identified.
Oh, my.
So what do you tell a parent? Oh, come and identify your faceless child, your 6-year-old with no face. And I hate to be that dramatic about it, but that's the case, you know?
Graphic. Well, it was, I'm just saying that there's something in here is just, that would have to be something behind this, because no one would react, even a law enforcement officer who knows the law, who supposedly knows the law, would threaten the general public that if you don't agree with us, you know, we're going to come after you. There's something desperately wrong with that. I would ask for a federal investigation, but now I don't even trust the federal government no more. So, you know, what are you going to do?
I think that officer was going off of emotion. He was distraught of what he saw, and he was going off of emotions of people talking nonsense that it was fake when he's seeing it firsthand. That's my opinion of what he said.
I appreciate your opinion.
Everybody's entitled to one.
Everybody's entitled to an opinion.
He doesn't agree with you, but he does appreciate it.
We don't agree. Jimmy Shine and I don't agree about a lot of stuff. A lot.
Hey, how come y'all took down your posting thing on your website? You can't post on the Real Family Talk website no more.
We'll work on that for you, Jimmy. We'll work on that for you.
I appreciate it.
407-894-1680, man. We appreciate you, man. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. So speaking of Chicago, you know what I'm saying? So you got all these brothers dying. And last year, the toll was over 500 last year. So in essence, you know, a little over a person and a half was killed on a daily basis every day in Chicago last year. I think they even had one weekend where they had 41 people die between Friday and Monday. Like 41 people died between Friday and Monday.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? This year alone, they're already at 23. And what are we at? 15 days in?
It ain't even 23 days.
Yeah, 15 days in, they're already at 23 dead, and over 80 shootings have taken place in the city in the first 15 days of 2013. Gun control. But gun control is important not because, you know, people are dying on a daily basis in our cities across the country, you know, obviously some more than others, but because we had this one random act of shooting in this, what?
2 random acts. Don't forget about Batman.
Okay, 2 random acts of shootings by what we can clearly say based on doctors' evidence, 2 wild men, 2 men who, when these shootings took place, were for whatever reason not in their right mind. You know what I'm saying? But now we got to change gun laws because these 2 people who were clearly lunatics, and I'm calling them lunatic. That's not the politically correct word, but, you know, lunatics.
It's crazy.
You know, crazy. You know what I'm saying? But yet they dying every day in Chicago, and we're just gonna move on from that because, you know, black on black crime.
I mean, they don't even you don't even report it no more.
It's just black on black.
You gotta
crime.
look it up on the internet.
You know, I was reading. You know, one person said, you know, so we got Newtown, but yet 41 people died in 3 days, and I mean, it's a blip on the radar. A blip on the radar. I mean, what do you guys think? 407-894-1680. What's the bigger issue?
That goes to what Ann Coulter said.
Now it's the white people's fault.
Ann Coulter, for those who don't know, she's a nut, first of all. Right wing, I mean, staunch, everything Republican that you may disagree on and don't like, she is that, the poster child of all that. Her comments on Hannity's show yesterday was that it's a demographic problem, gun violence. It's not a white problem. It's a demographic problem. So dismiss Sandy Hook, dismiss Buddy from Batman, dismiss Columbine, dismiss all these tragedies that had these white kids. These mass shootings came from white folks, but it's not a white problem. She says.
I'm gonna speak on that. I'm not going to. Well, I guess what I say is probably going to sound like a defense. But here's what I say about that. You know, taking the comment for what it is. So it's a demographic problem. So what she's saying is, you know, ultimately, is the main problem that relates to guns has nothing to do with us. It has to do with these other people, right? That's what she's saying. And so she's saying that's where the gun problems are, over there, and these other people, not us. So why are you going to regulate us when the problem is over here with these other people? Now, here's what I say to that.
What do you mean by other people?
I'm sure she said demographic, so
No,
that
so
means
she's talking about the minority.
That means
Everybody
blacks,
else other than the
the
white
blacks,
folks.
the
That's what she
Hispanics,
means.
you know, anybody that falls in that minority category, mostly blacks.
Anybody
and
who's not white.
So that ultimately she's saying regulate them, don't regulate us. Okay. Well, what are they saying when they talk about gun control? Gun control is not regulating not regulating black people or black teenagers in the hood that are buying illegal guns. It's not regulating them. That's not what gun control regulates.
Nope.
Gun control regulates people who literally go out and buy guns legally. That's who gun control regulates. So by definition, what she said is true. It's not affecting, gun control isn't affecting the people who need quote unquote gun control. It's affecting the people who are legally buying guns. So it isn't a, I hate the statement. The statement is wrong. But when you break the statement down, there's a point to be made here. Where you need gun control is in the community where we're dying, where over 500 people are dying in the city of Chicago, where 41 people died between Friday and Monday. That's where you need some gun control. But you can't do that from the legislative point of view. You got to put boots on the ground and figure out a way to curb all this illegal gun activity, because that's the problem. The problem is not legal gun activity. There's been 77 shootings related to school shootings in 16 years. I didn't do the math on how many people's died, but if it's 77 shootings and let's just give 10 people per shooting, that's still only about 770 people that's died. There's 500 people died in Chicago in last year alone. Where's the bigger problem here? It's not about school shootings, which mostly happen from white people killing white people. It's about the communities where we live. That's the problem. So I don't care about, don't regulate guns from the legislative point of view. Let's figure out and do something about getting illegal guns off the street and setting up a whole bunch of gun laws like they did in New York last night and announced today isn't curbing illegal gun activity. Solve the problems. Don't come at me with, feel good solutions. Which is, that's one of my biggest issues that I talk about on the show related to government all the time. We're always getting these feel good solutions that put smiles on our faces, but they never solve problems. When you look at crime in the black community, there's several statistics over the years that tell us that over 90% of the crime committed against black people is committed by other black people. Over 90%. Some years it's 95, some years it's 93, other years it's 97. So ultimately we're killing each other and we robbing from each other, but nobody's concerned about that. No gun control law is stopping that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So let's get out the boardroom and putting smiles on people's faces and do something to solve solutions. 407-894-1680. I don't want to take up all the time. What you guys got to say about that?
Church.
That's all can be said. I mean, it's the truth. That's why I don't think gun control is necessarily an issue, because all you're gonna do is make it harder for majority of law-abiding citizens to get guns or to get protection as they see fit. Then what you're gonna do is narrow the pool of guns into people who are not criminals. And you're going to push the majority of guns into the hands of people just with criminals. Because if they just got rid of guns and say, guns are illegal, that means the police go have them, the military go have them, and the criminals go have them.
Basically.
Because the criminals go get guns regardless.
Exactly.
Because it's always going to be willing to be a greedy cop, a greedy government official, a greedy military official. It's always a greedy business. It's always going to be somebody willing to sell something to somebody who's not supposed to have it because the dollar amount is right. So that's why I don't believe in gun control like that. It's just like it doesn't solve the issue. It's really it's a mindset change. Especially when you're talking about cities in Chicago or in inner city, the hood or whatever, it's a mindset change. You cannot be legislated. Like you said, J. Real, take boots on the ground. People gonna have to go in. We try to get a dialogue with these fellas and find out how can we change this. We need some jobs. I mean,
need education.
Need some education.
Hope. We need hope.
Need some hope. We need some prayer.
That too. Hope and prayer.
And education. I speak on aid. I'll be real with you. In Chicago, a lot of times, unless you are somebody who are really looking to graduate, you're not going to graduate. Because if you're that person that's on the fence, like, you might and you might not, you're probably not going to, because they don't care. They don't care. They rather get you out to school anyway.
Yep.
That's sad.
It is,
true, brother.
but that's real.
So sad.
That's real. If you can own the fence and they don't know, and nobody takes an interest in you and making sure you do this, they don't care if you come to school. They could care less.
Nope. Especially if you've been labeled.
Yeah.
That, and once you get that label, they just be happy. Well, he ain't come today. Oh, the teachers be in the class. Oh, thank God.
I know.
That's
Thank
all
you, Jesus.
over.
It was
That's
a
here
blessing,
in Orlando.
Mm-hmm. But it is.
And I know because I've been there.
It is here in Orlando, but I'm telling you, it's like it's some stuff. Because if you didn't grow up in that type of environment, you'd be like, that can't be true. But it's real. It's real. A lot of them don't care. They don't care. A lot of them teachers be like babysitting. They just be looking to wait to 3:30 or whatever till the time to go. They can run up out of there. Give me my check and I'm gone.
That's sad. Where was Eastside High? What city was that?
It was Patterson, New Jersey.
It was New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I couldn't remember what Eastside High was. That's what I think of when I think of like this craziness in education with the kids not graduating. And it's that extreme before Mr. Clark got there.
Yeah. But like you said, what he did though, he instilled a mindset change. You got to change the way you think, and that's how he was able to turn a school around. If nobody's willing to really go in there, and it ain't easy, and I'm not necessarily saying everybody is supposed to, because it's a give. It's a reason there was a Joe Clark or a Martin Luther King or whoever. It's a reason those people were exceptional people. They had God-given gifts. They had a purpose, and they was willing to do anything to fulfill that purpose. And everybody can't do it. I mean, that's just the honesty behind it. Everybody can't do it, and everybody's not built to do it. So it's definitely not an easy thing, but that's what's going to have to happen.
Speaking on, we're talking about school and education. I saw a statistic. It's from 2010. It talks about school and punishment, the differences between blacks and whites. So 18% of the school system was about black students, made up about black students that year. They said, we're 18% of the school system, right? But we're 35% of the people who get suspended at least one time. We're 39% of the people who get expelled from school. We're 42% of the people who get arrested at school. You see what I'm saying? Compared to 25% of the white kids that get arrested. We're 42. They're 25. And then we're 35% of the people who, again, have some kind of arrest record. So 42% of us are being, told, hey, man, you need to watch this guy, Mr. Cop. And then 35% of us are actually getting arrested, again, compared to 21% of whites. We're more likely. We're more likely to have trouble. And this goes even beyond when you're in school, even, driving down the street, right?
Yeah. That's
you're more likely, on average, don't have no nice car. Please don't have no nice car, especially in no nice neighborhood. But, and with tinted windows, we're more likely to get pulled over and questioned, and we're more likely to at least have an issue, Now, the part of that comes from, that education, one of the things you got to learn, especially, as a black man, you got to learn when the cops pull you over, the best thing you to do is yes, sir, no, sir, until he say bye-bye. That attitude stuff ain't going to get you nowhere.
Keep your hands on the steering wheel.
On the steering wheel,
please.
Brother. On the steering wheel. If you ain't learned that lesson yet, yes, that's one of the biggest lessons you got to learn.
And a lot of that goes back to, like, you say, people don't understand. When you grow up black, and then especially when you grow up a black male, people tell you that, and then you have to tell your sons and your nephews and your little cousins. You got to tell them, like, hey man, watch yourself, because some of these people, they trigger happy, and a lot of them, they scared, really. They're scared. They scared. And you want to talk about the wrong person to have a gun on their waist is somebody that's scared. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. So, we have to grow up that type of mentality. Like, I got to watch myself. I can't say this. I can't say that. If I appear too aggressive, they go do this. Now, like my dad, like you got your rights and everything, but my dad always told me, say, son, you can be dead right. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So
407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Man, we went back to education. We're talking about education again and how education is lacking. You think about what's happening in the state of Florida in terms of education. You remember, just before the end of the year there, or I think it was actually back in November, I believe it was, when they were creating the standards for education. And then they made all of the standards based on the race that you were. So if you were one race, you might have had a higher standard than the next race, which, of course, whites had a higher standard. Right. Blacks had a lower standards. Hispanics fell somewhere in between. Asians were a little bit higher, So they was, creating the standard based on the race that you were a part of. That's the problem we're facing, because a lot of our kids, especially in school systems today, you got these labels. Which is kind of why they end up in the streets looking for, guns, essentially, because you have these labels. They basically lose hope, essentially. They feel like, this is all I'm going to ever be. Not to mention that, the guy with the gun, if you will, or the guy that's doing wrong specifically, seems to be doing so much better than me sometimes. And so you kind of fall into these traps. Whereas if we would just properly educate them to see that through education there is a different life. Sometimes that life is harder, and you kind of have to learn that as you grow up. It's not always easy. Nobody said life's going to be easy. No. We just said it was possible, if you will. Right. But you have to educate these guys, and when they're not in school, when they're not reading at the level that they need to be, when they don't have any kind of training because they, got frustrated and dropped out at 16 or 15, you have to go in, and that's where we have to be proactive as a community, because we can see clearly. The evidence is on the walls every day. I don't care who the politician is. I don't care who is in the position. Very few of them, regardless of their color, are truly coming in and really changing lives on the level that it needs to be changed. You know what I'm saying? You think about where we are today compared to where we were 50 years ago. We really aren't that far apart, and we are so much more, greater as a people from a technology standpoint and all of those things. But yet we're still relatively close to the same place we were 50 years ago when we didn't have no technology, or 60 years ago when we were still fighting for rights, And now we got all the technology in the world, we got all the opportunity in the world, and we still in the same place. So, we're not doing the job, and we have to take a more proactive approach to accomplishing those goals, because clearly there's a lot of work to be done. And celebrating gun control laws and feeling good and getting all upset because of a new town and things like that, it's putting smiles on people's faces. But it's not solving problems. It's not even, remotely addressing the problem. You know what I'm saying? You think about, again, going back to Chicago, because at this point they're the murder capital of the country. Chicago is right now. When the president last year went to a wedding in Chicago for one of his staff members, the kids. I think it was a daughter, but a kid. Now, when he came, security got beefed up. They probably made sure that there was no incidents happening anywhere in that realm, which, they're supposed to do that, and I'm not knocking them for doing that. But, that same kind of presence, if we're going to curb the situation in Chicago, needs to take place on a daily.
I'm sorry, real quick, though. It's crazy. We know that's that kind of issue. I've been up there, and I've been on blocks that I know been dangerous. And you'll sit around for like 30 minutes. You don't even see a police come by. Now, how crazy is that?
That's the way it is, brother. We don't need gun control. We need to solve problems. And laws don't do that. I will be remiss if we get out of here. And real quick, Zumbathon, January 26th, for our lovely Miss McCrae. It's going to be at Tangelo Park YMCA. It starts at 3 o'clock. Make sure you're there, Tangelo Park YMCA, on January 26th. The cost, you remember the cost, Ms. McCrae? It eludes me right now. There is a cost. We'll put it on the air next week, and it'll be on the website. But please check it out. We love you. We'll see you next week. This is WOKB 1680 AM. This is your host, Jay Real. We're signing off. We will see you next week, family. Appreciate you for listening.
Indeed.
Follow us on Facebook, Real Family Talk. You can follow us on Twitter, Real Family Talk. The website, realfamilytalk.weebly.com.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.